A live look now at DFW National Cemetery this Memorial Day. Observances there, just about to get underway as we take a moment to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dia Wall. A lot of outdoor events on this national holiday. We're standing by with meteorologist Mariel Ruiz because we do have some showers that could move in later on this afternoon, something we need to be watching out for.
Something we need to be watching, especially because a lot of us are going to be out and about, maybe not necessarily be paying close attention, but the potential for storms, it's there. It's not for everyone, but it is there. Let's go ahead and take you outside so I can show you that mix of sunshine and cloud cover most of us will see most of the day. Temperature at DFW right now of 82 degrees. Winds are out of the southeast at about 5 to 10. Humidity is high, y'all. It feels pretty muggy out. That's going to stay with us the remainder of the day. And of course, that cloud cover also more dense for our western counties, anywhere near Seymour, Haskell towards Abilene, looking at a little bit higher cloud cover out there. But otherwise, we are looking at a mostly clear sky. I'm still watching this little cluster of thunderstorms. This has been ongoing since really overnight, but we saw this cluster of storms pushing south along 283. No severe weather with this one, but there is a flood warning in place for northern Coleman County. Of course, something that we have to watch just because we did see some rain yesterday. We saw some the day before, so any additional rain could cause some issues in those low-lying areas. You know, those areas that flood kind of easily in the neighborhoods. That's what we're watching for. Today, an air quality alert. If you're spending any time outside, just keep in mind today is one of those days when ozone production can tend to be a little higher. So this in turn lowers the air quality. Groups with respiratory issues should likely limit some time outdoors. Otherwise, we are looking just warm and muggy. The potential for storms after about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, going up to about a 20% coverage. This is not a lot. That means most of us are going to be rain-free today, but the very few of us that do see the rain, we have to be on the lookout for the potential of some heavier downpours and of course the potential for a few of these storms to ramp up. So I'm going to show you what this looks like on the latest data timeline for you. Also talking about higher rain chances for Tuesday night going into Wednesday. That's all coming up in a bit, but first a check of your roads. Stay listeners. And this morning, how's it looking?
All right, let's go ahead and take a look. So that map, you can see you don't really have any issues if you're heading out. There's one spot I want to point out, and it's the same area that we've been talking about since this morning. Now, most construction, most road work has been paused for the holiday weekend, so I do not think this was planned. This is US 80 eastbound at 635. They've been working on it since very early this morning, and that's causing a little bit of a backup along the eastbound side right there at 635. It's also slowing things down for the ramps that are trying to access US 80 eastbound from 635. So it's the same area we've been watching. That's the good news, the fact that you really don't have anything else to worry about, and just give yourself, I would just say, a couple extra minutes if you have to travel through that portion of US 80. Now, just taking a look at the rest of the afternoon, Memorial Day traffic still, of course, a lot lighter than a typical Monday across North Texas, but travel hotspots could stay busy through the afternoon with more drivers heading toward lakes and vacation destinations. You can expect heavier traffic near airports and longer lines at cheaper gas stations. Also keep in mind, return traffic is expected to start picking up this afternoon and really this evening as people head back home from weekend trips. Dia?
All right, Stacia, we appreciate that. A live look right now at Arlington National Cemetery, where this hour President Donald Trump is participating in a Memorial Day observance. He's laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Here in North Texas, our largest Memorial Day observance is wrapping up this hour, the annual Carry the Load Memorial Day March. Our Janelle Fort is live for that closing ceremony at Dallas's Rivershon Park. Janelle, how's it going?
Well, Dia, this is really the moment that this entire two-day march has been leading up to. They just made an announcement here telling folks that they need to make their way over to where we are by the main stage because the closing ceremony is about to start in about 30 minutes at 11:30. And you can see all the folks that are out here this morning. Right now, they are working to pick up the rows of flags and storyboards with the names and faces of fallen service members, veterans, and first responders from the Katy Trail. And in a moment, they're going to have a procession here through the park. And at the heart of this, Carry the Load asks a really simple question. Who are you carrying? For some, it's a loved one killed in combat. For others, it's a veteran, a first responder, or someone whose life was forever shaped by service. This event, it started here in Dallas 15 years ago with Navy SEAL veterans Stephen Hawley and Clint Bruce. Since then, what began with about 500 people has grown into more than 75 events across the country and more than $50 million raised for veteran service organization. So this year's event, it powered through some weather woes, as we saw yesterday. Lightning delayed things for a bit, but people stayed with it. There was a midnight march, and then things continued into today. Of course, there is food, there is music, family, kids, but the reason people are here is much bigger than that. It is about making sure that Memorial Day is much more than a long weekend, it's much more than a barbecue, and it's much more than a sale. I'll send it back to you, Dia.
All right, Janelle, thank you. The White House is giving mixed messaging about the status of negotiations with Iran. President Trump over the weekend said a solution to end the war was largely negotiated. Then he said he doesn't want to rush into a deal. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the details.
As the war with Iran approaches its fourth month, President Trump now says he's in no rush to reach a deal. Both he and Secretary of State Marco Rubio appear willing to walk away if certain conditions aren't met, despite suggesting over the weekend a new truce was largely negotiated.
We have what I think is a pretty solid thing on the table in terms of their ability to open up the straits, get the straits open, enter into a very real, significant, time-limited negotiation on the nuclear matters. And hopefully we can pull it off.
A senior administration official tells ABC News the interim agreement on the table includes reopening the Strait of Hormuz and an end to the U.S. blockade. Plus, the official says a commitment from Iran to negotiate the removal of their highly enriched uranium stockpile. But an advisor for Iran's supreme leader said overnight, quote, managing the Strait of Hormuz is our legal right. A spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry today said several issues have been dealt with, but that doesn't mean a signed agreement is imminent, criticizing U.S. negotiators for what it calls frequent changes in positions. Iranian state media denies the temporary truce includes any nuclear commitments, a hard line for some Republicans in Congress.
Well, now we're talking about a posture where we may accept the nuclear material remaining in Iran. How does that make sense at all?
And the president today called on several Middle Eastern countries to join the Abraham Accords, which is designed to normalize the relationship between Israel and the Arab world. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Tomorrow, voters across Texas head to the polls for the primary runoff election. Among the most closely watched races is the Republican race for U.S. Senate. Incumbent Senator John Cornyn is facing Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who received the endorsement of President Trump. The race to replace Paxton as Attorney General is also a competitive one between Congressman Chip Roy and State Senator Mays Middleton. On the Democratic side, Colin Allred is asking Dallas voters to send him back to Congress. He's hoping to unseat incumbent Julie Johnson in the 33rd District. We'll bring you results throughout the night tomorrow. We've got a special results show that'll stream on WFAA Plus as soon as the polls close, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.